not just approach detection from point of view of the science, but actually also work from point of view and some form of behavior detection as a part of our technology. So we need to not just isolate our own view, but try to assume that we don't know and try to make our detection of decisions of what we're doing. So we want to see how we're monitoring your activities, what are the interactions with the file system, are you making any mainstream modifications? Is there maybe even an encrypted API call? Something we've not seen before, then we are now getting off of this call, come to the conclusion that this might be a ransomware attack, and maybe conjuring the expert on having a decision. So all of these guys are trends that we are looking at. And here are some numbers really. Ransomware now has some big figures. We look at in COVID, the governmental industry, from direct database access, data leakage, threats to national security. Some victim side experience really communicated with some of these guys, right? But even when we look at on the 30th of December in Kenya, $900 million.
Manual.
So these guys, this was on an airline. So airport data was leaked, security and investigation data, employee data, PI, all exposed. So these are some of the threats that we're seeing. Obviously, at Kempinski, we do have our threat researchers. And we're spending a lot of time in multiple regions, so trying to make more sense about what these threats are, and finding the best ways to defend things. As part of our offerings as well, when we make these detections, we try to assist with some machine readable guides. So we want to be able to provide some IOC. We want to be able to provide VROs as well to our guys and our intelligence, just so that we can be a bit more proactive in our defense strategy. Maybe in some cases, maybe we look at when we start to look at maybe someone's covered threats within the organization, and things that we missed. And then we can call on the reports, the intelligence, to help us make some detection. So on the ABC side, attackers are trying to modify their methods as much as possible. They're trying to get some tools to give more invasive around some of the technologies we have. So maybe for guys that have been with sandbox, you don't have some human simulating techniques as part of your sandbox. Might be interesting. Because now we're going to show himself, right? Because some of these guys are already built to know when they're in the standard. The moment they realize, they're not just going to share anything. This could then lead to maybe some false credits from the standard, suggesting that this is a fine sample, and you want to run into the environment and then there's compromise. So, from our side, now that we understand how we're thinking, it does help us defend. So, we're looking at sandboxes that are providing us with these, simulating, human simulating technology, make malware as comfortable as possible. In fact, we want to provide as much tools within the sandbox. So, for example, definitely the malware targeting finance. So maybe malware might not necessarily do anything malicious unless it finds something like QuickBooks. So if you don't have QuickBooks as a part of your sandbox, you might get like a wrong credit suggesting that this malware sample is fine, and then you run it on the account instead of the company. So maybe we want to be able to modify the pages within the sandbox to hold some of our applications. Maybe most of the application that everything we have running internally, have it as a part of the sandbox as well, just so that every time there's an attempt to make detection, we're able to make those detections for us. Then we have the increased sophistication. Attackers are using advanced technical skills and tools again to evade detection as much as possible. And itself, attacks are often designed to go unnoticed as much as possible. Speaking an interesting example, this was something that happened to us at first. It's called operational triangulation. Maybe by a show of hands, has anyone heard of triangulation? Interesting, really interesting thing. I won't spend a lot of time talking about it. But the idea was, we did find a flaw within the iOS and was so payload will be delivered in the form of an iMessage. Interestingly, the users don't see the message. It just drops itself and deletes itself. Very, very simple. It wasn't really persistent per se as what you start your device for. But the challenge there is it's so easy to deliver. Just send the iMessage again and use another. So we found, we used our own technology stack, we used our same solution, we used our network detection and response tool on stack platform to make this detection. And interestingly, we shared some samples around with some partners. Right? You know, this is something that was supporting text messages, phone call recordings, sending out, all of that. We shared some samples. This was maybe a detection was made in late 2023, and there were guys compromised this as far as 2019. So for 4 years, some guys just had their confidential information, messages, all of that, just being sent out without telling. Obviously, we make detection, we empower our reports, shared with iOS, and then we have another patch, responding back. But this is just to show the intent. First off, to show that no one is immune to anything of these attacks. Every single person can be attacked, and this is putting ourselves in front of yes, we are also being attacked. And these threats can be undiscovered from a while. So it's always interesting to mention. Now, what are some of the top targeted industries? We're looking at the governmental guys, also being targeted. Some people have this small misconception. We're the governmental body, maybe no one is really paying attention to us. Interestingly, there's a lot of people paying attention to you. If you try to do a home for that word, see some of the detection, some of the leakages from governmental, you will be very surprised. So actually, the governmental ones actually need protection as much as possible. They are part of the top the telcos and financial institutions are also massively targeted. And then we have our industrial guys. We will always go back to something like Stuxnet. It could be very devastating, and something around the industrial side is as much as there is like potential loss of data and rights. There's something more delicate as there will be loss of life. So these are definitely things to consider. And in conclusion, if we try to spend a lot of time discussing our detection logic, we will say things here. But we have this small write-up from one of our researchers around finding the name in this. The concept of using machine learning for detection. And maybe a message around, generally, I want to keep in mind, the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. So because I can't see something, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. This is a huge mistake that a lot of people make. They assume that, yes, I can't see it, so there's nothing there. Or we can't have that mindset. We need to always assume that there's something there. And we need to always start our hunting. We need to go through these really large data sets with human intervention and machine learning one. And so just to wrap it up, what should organizations be doing in 2025? We should be focusing on having an advanced strategy and focusing on advanced user awareness. We should be able to remember that only as strong as our weakest link, what you quote weakest link here would be like every other person within the organization that maybe is security focused. But we need to make everybody security focused. We need to focus on awareness. We need to help everyone understand their responsibility in security. After that, we then need to bring in the concept of technology. Having the right technologies, the fully set up some proper SIM solutions, threat data feeds to help us be more rapid, react much faster. We need advanced controls, vulnerability tracking, pen testing, and then we need advanced compliance around governance, laws and regulations, procedures, effective management, involvement, as always. Generally, the concept of people, processes, technology. No sole reliance on anyone, but remembering that all that, I'd like to say thank you very much for your time, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Benjamin, for your detail. I think some of it may have gone over some people's heads. Some of it went over my head, to be honest. And so I would even encourage speakers, especially those in the AI space. Some of the language, some of the terminology is still very new. So to the extent that you can just maybe pause and explain a concept here or there, I think it will help bring everyone along. But really, really interesting in terms of the number of cyber attacks, the average amount of the cyber attacks. Does anyone remember? What is the average amount of the cyber attacks for enterprises? Let me see who is listening.
105.
Oh, speak with confidence. Yes, thank you. It was $1 million. But interestingly, I don't know why Ghana was not on the list of African countries. I noticed that, and I think he owes us an explanation at some point today. But maybe the quote that he gave at the end, I'll repeat it because I think it's quite interesting. The absence. Anybody remembers the quote? Anybody heard the quote? Okay, let me tell you what it says. It says, the absence, or he said, the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. Write it down. I think it's actually quite interesting. It's deep, very deep, but the absence of evidence isn't the evidence of absence. So we thank him and we appreciate him for that. Next up, we have, and if I do not pronounce it well, we have Malate. Let me see your hands here. Oh, okay, he's coming. And she is a senior business development manager for East Monster Foods. And when she comes, she will then tell me how to pronounce her surname properly, so that I give it the respect that it does. Okay, awesome. But yes, so she's here to talk about empowering SMEs across Africa through seamless B2B payments solutions. So, we may need to call on a tech person for everything. All right, so let's give our round of applause. Our first female speaker today is extra applause. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. A big thank you to the organizers of this event. It's been interesting and informative listening to the speakers. I will be sharing insights. On empowering SMEs across Africa through B2B payment solutions. My name is Kempinski. I'm a senior business development manager at Teams. I'm responsible for new business within the government of Africa. Average of years has removed geographical barriers.
Good
Yes,
evening.
we might have different cultural identities.
Good evening.
And I'd like to buttress this with the point that the global economy is more connected than ever before. And the ability to I'll just go on. The slides are covered. These are about use the smart superhighway, moving funds across the world. With a proven track record demonstrating measurable value for our customers. We have a global network. We're going to be able to pay out in over 100 countries. We're able to facilitate transactions through direct transfers to our network partners. We have about 500 network partners across the board. We're able to pay out over 7 billion bank accounts and wallets across the world. We're also able to pay out over 15 billion cards. These transactions are able to put back in real time at 90%. And we also last year, we had a platform of time of about 99.9 minutes. That's almost 100%. Our transactions are processed with full transparency and also very dependable with a QoS of 98%. We pride ourselves with processing transactions from end to end, from origination to termination, and this we offer through our pay and accept. Our pay service allows us to pay out transfers to wallets across the world. We're also able to pay to banks, over 60 local real-time payment systems connected to Tunes. We're also able to offer instant payouts to all the major card networks. And another innovative use case for us is to pay by QR code. Now, this we strongly push in China. If you've been to China, you know how challenging it is to get them to accept your local payment methods. But by partnering with Tunes, your customers will no longer have to stand whenever they travel. They'll be able to use their mobile wallets or QR codes to pay merchants in China. Now, we also have the accept. The accept, of course, allows us to facilitate transactions with mobile wallets, payments, digital vouchers, and also our buy now, pay later. So this really shows the likelihood of our products that we currently offer with our services. Now, more on the pay. Now, you'd agree with me that there's still challenges with sending out funds, especially when you want to pay businesses across the world. Now, what Tunes has done is that we provide rails that will ensure that you're able to pay out faster to your customers. Right? You're able to pay out faster to your customers, a more reliable service. And then there's also transparency. Sometimes when you process some of these transactions, you tell you what the beneficiary you get in terms of the payout amount. But by partnering with Tunes, there's transparency on the payouts that go to the customer. And then also key for us is faster go-to-market. When you look at, as an entity, you want to connect across the world, the timeless integrations you have to do. Tunes has done the body lifting. By connection to Tunes, we're able to reach markets faster. Of course, some of our success stories is what we've been able to achieve in Kempinski Bank by enabling their business clients across Africa to pay their suppliers in China. We have a remarkable coverage across China, and of course, we know how a lot of businesses across Africa do business there. And of course, other countries as well. Just key to mention is what we've achieved with Kempinski Bank and how this has also been good revenue as well to the bank. Also, with checkout.com, we've been able to optimize settlements for their customers. And of course, this has also eased some pain points for these entities. More on the accept side, we help businesses accept funds globally and settle them locally. Now, businesses, what do they stand to gain from being on board the Tunes accept? accept business payments. They're able to compete globally. Just as we started out the discussion, the world is a global village now. And if you're an SME or business player and you're not easily able to access the world, then what benefit is it to you? But when you partner with teams or work with banks that have partnered with teams, it gives you better access to the global market, which is what teams will expose ESPs and players in the FI space to. Now you're able to do faster transfers to B2B, instant transfers, just as I spoke about, transparency in terms of rates and pricing. And of course, key is faster go-to-market with one integration, and we give you the world to speak. Another success story is what we've been able to achieve with Core Global and Wallet is how across Europe they are able to pay their suppliers in China as well in real time. Businesses that want to scale and grow and make good margins need to start looking at the payment players that support their business. And Tunes has shown a proven track record that they are able to achieve this. Now, this is another innovative use case for us at Tunes. This really speaks to the strategic importance of wallets within the payments ecosystem. Now, this innovation rides on the Swift messaging platform, which as banks you already have in place. However, by connecting to Teams on this, you won't need to do any additional activation. You can expand your reach to the wallets. If today you needed to send payments to wallets, you have to integrate directly with Doreen, and all of those wallets across the world, WeChat Pay, Alipay. But by partnering with Teams on the Swift Pay to wallet, they're able to access all the wallets across the world. So this brings to bear Teams wallets offering. We have 7 billion mobile wallets across the world, 110 mobile wallet brands on the network and supporting over 50 countries. Now, what are the challenges? Just as I spoke about, the missed opportunity for banks because a lot of the transfers go to banks across the world. However, you can add the wallets to your offering. No access to mobile wallets, extra investments needed if you plan to integrate directly to the wallets. And that will take countless years for you to cover what Teams has already done and offering to you with one partnership. So we give you faster go-to-market, no added technical investment, just as I spoke about. Your existing Swift messaging is sufficient for this service. And of course, there's transparency in terms of the pricing we offer, the FX, and transactions we transmitted instantly. And will definitely give you better coverage and more offering for you. This slide further buttresses the strategic importance of wallets. Research has shown that wallet users surpassed card users in the world since 2019, and mobile wallets will be used by 60% of the global population by 2025, as here and now, making them the fastest growing payment method. So people were able to pay and receive in wallets. The faster will be in tune over time. So across the world, 4.8 billion wallet users. In Asia, that's 2.6 billion wallets in use. Africa and Middle East, 798 wallets. And in Latin, 605 billion wallets. When you compare it to the population of the people, you can see that the significant movement. Still on wallet. Sorry about that. Okay, so more on this wallet, Swift Pay's wallet. This speaks to how Swift has over 500,000 members of the network, and it shows how Shield also sits in the middle with a direct global network through wallets across the world. You can see Ivory Coast, Cambodia, China, Alipay up there, Senegal, Colombia, and all of these were able to deliver real time. So banks noticed that they are looking to expand their payout coverage beyond the bank and give access to the wallets to their customers. Permit me to share a snippet, a clip with more on the wallet. Okay, so to wrap up, what I think increase reach to the banks, accelerated go-to-market, and of course increase customer engagement. I mean, this is common, okay? This is your existing network will work for this to easily to discuss the paperwork and then you're ready to go to market. And of course, these are some of the brands that are the James Wallet, brand across Southeast Asia, Ghana, which are here. This is another innovative use case that I'm actually very passionate about. It's the me-to-me account photo. Now, how this service works is right in your local banking app. The customers can initiate transactions by following the icons. They will be able to pull funds from their UK EU bank accounts. The applicable rates will be displayed on the screen, and they'll be able to credit their local accounts in CD. And all of this, the journey will start and end in your local bank. Say CDP, Ecobank, Zenith Bank, UK. The process will start and end in the app. So customers in this Japan, we have a lot of Ghanaians and Africans that are moved to UK, EU, for instance. We have other regions across the world that will be coming on this service. Currently, the value of inbound remittance flows from the UK to Ghana is about $668 million. And of course, this shows the opportunity. And what this also gives the banks, the opportunity to also be able to play in the diaspora space by maintaining stickiness to your customers. So when they migrate, they don't necessarily have to migrate from the bank and start looking for third-party players for them to move funds back to you. They're now able to continue to maintain the relationship with your customers, and right in your banking app, they can start process transactions and credit their local account with you. End users in Europe, multi-step funds are inflow, UX, and revenue giving up to third party. So of course, right now, third party entities are the ones that manage the UX and revenue. The customers have to engage them, have to use whatever application, or go out to go look for a player that will be able to move remittances down to Ghana. But what we're saying is we're taking a step away, reducing the customer journey by the integration start and end with for transfer of funds right in the app. And of course, the cost is higher when you have to manage third party. And of course, this will then come to the bank as revenue. And for complex user experience, people do not move easily to change. So if they've been used to use your app locally, when they migrate and this service is available, they're likely to continue to use what they're familiar with, and they'll be able to access their overseas wallet or bank account. Okay, this just shows the journey of what the customer will see. Of course, you have liberty to design your UX. There will be an icon for top up, and then they see the applicable rates that will be advised by the bank in Ghana. They review if they're happy with it. They choose their funding method, bank account, wallet, and then the necessary authentication is done. Of course, they are able to select their bank across Europe or the UK, putting the necessary validation details that goes to their bank, and once it's confirmed, there's a successful transaction notification, and their local account is credited in CBs. I wish you were able to watch that video for the consistency. Thank you for listening.
Is it working? Is it working? So thank you very much. I think what we can take away from that presentation is that we need to be able to transact globally, and we need to allow people to do that comfortably in their local currency. So thank you that Food is offering solutions in that regard. And as she said, if you are interested, if you would like to know more, if you would like to get a copy of the video that you missed, please reach out to her, and she'll be happy to help. Thank you. So I would like to now invite, in fact, before I bring our next speaker up, just because I see some heads kind of tilting to the left and to the right, can I just get everybody to, you don't have to stand up, just move your arms, please. 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Awesome, now do this. Excellent, clap for yourself. All right, so let's stay awake and let us stay alert. Now let me invite, and again, please forgive me if I don't get the name entirely correct, but Saranda Sampath Kumar. So sorry, I'm sure I did not do it correctly. But please come up, and then you can help us as well pronounce your name correctly. He is the VP and General Manager for Middle East and Africa for Infosys Limited. He will be talking about the topic Next Gen redesigning banking with composable platforms. And one request is, I do hope you're going to tell us what composable platforms are, because we don't know.
and gentlemen. How are you all doing today? Great. Thank you so much. You made my job easy. By being here with 3 times. So that we have all the audience focusing on this presentation. My name is Sriranga, as easier to be remembered, pronounced. I head the business for Middle East and Africa for Infosys directly. Thank you so much for taking time, all of you, for coming to this event. Great event, very well organized by our partners here. Thank you for all the sponsors. The topic that I have chosen today to speak is very close to my heart, and that's because, in fact, I have written a few white papers as well on this. This is about reshaping, redesigning banking itself. Today, for a very long time, we have been using the banking platforms that are monolith, a dinosaur, whichever way you want to call it. But things are changing. It's no longer banks, it's payment service banks, there are telecoms, everybody getting into this space. So it's making the space all the more interesting as we speak. So I thought it best we address this one and how Infosys Pinnacle is driving this business in Africa and the rest of the globe, and share some of the case studies as well. So without much ado, I'll start. And for those of you who are probably accessing your emails on your laptop, if you missed any part of the presentation, the booth is outside. You can always come and talk to us, and we'll be more than happy to share with you. So before I get into the nitty-gritties of who we are, I thought it was best to give you who we are from a global standpoint. We are the largest banking platform, servicing more than 500 of clients globally. The numbers that are here talk about the volumes that we handle. We service today more than 1.7 billion accounts as we speak every day. And the largest implementation of ours is a core banking implementation, which is in the Guinness Book of World Records, where we service close to 600 million accounts every day. These are the kind of volumes that we're talking about. And last but not the least, APIs being the backbone of more and more technology providers, system integrators today provide you a holistic view. We have a client today who are using extensively our API framework. That means, powering over 200 million API calls every day for their end-to-end transaction. In fact, we are very proud that recently, when we went live in Guaranteed Trust Bank in Nigeria, the end-to-end integration of all the components in GT is done through the API framework itself. This is first of its kind on a composable platform that is purely cloud agnostic. This is the kind of volume that we are talking about. For those of you who probably don't know Infosys Pinnacle and Infosys, we are close to $19 billion in terms of revenue. Close to 4.3 billion of that is in cash, and close to 30% of that comes from financial services business. We have both the arms, financial services, as well as financial product. So when we come to a customer today, we are able to give one Infosys comprehensive solution. We have close to 7 offices in Middle East and Africa. We recently opened our subsidiary as well in South Africa. And the growing demand for clinical solution in this part of the world is helping us put more and more offices, support centers to cater to all these customers. In terms of our footprint, we have more than 100 plus installations. Some of the new logos that are mentioned here have been with us for more than close to 10-15 years. In fact, some of our colleagues from UBA is with us for more than 15 years, FBN probably 18 years, now GT, Zenith Bank, standard time across all the 18 countries. So, you name it in Africa, most of those banks are using Pinnacle as a platform across various product portfolio. So, let's come to the meat of this entire presentation of mine. I'm here to talk about composability. That's where the future is. That's where most of the investment clients are looking at. When I say composability, it's about what we are trying to offer as an open architecture, open API framework. Earlier, all these blocks that you saw here or seeing here are all part of one box. It is no longer in one box. You can pick and choose the kind of modules or enterprise components that you want and put it on a composable framework on a non-cloud or a cloud framework, as we mentioned there, and implement your solution. You don't even need a GL today to implement a banking. And the reason I keep emphasizing on a banking platform and not a core banking solution is because core banking itself has morphed itself. It's no longer core banking that people are looking. It's a platform that people want to get based on their need. Today you might already have implemented a system, most of you already have. You don't want to change your existing infrastructure or a GL that you have implemented. So leave the GL intact and change everything around it based on best of breed solutions, which is what we are talking about here. And all these are based on multiple microservices, enterprise components that can give you that flexibility. So when I mention all this, what does it actually translate when it is a customer? Probably it's a bit too technical, so I will try and give you an example of various customers who are using this product. I'm trying to segment it based on conventional banks, digital-only banks, the payment service banks, the digital disruptors as we call, and banking as a service. Okay, so let's start with the conventional banks. We take an example of Bank of America. So Bank of America contracted Infosys to provide entire banking platform across all the 35 countries. When they started, it was a pure CASA PD that was supposed to be implemented across all 35 countries. But somewhere down the line, the bank realized that that's probably not the best way to move forward, depending upon the countries that they go. When they go to countries like Indonesia, China, and parts of Africa, probably they might want to look at payments infrastructure first before getting into changing their CASA, PD, or their corporate banking itself. So they switched to a payment gateway or a payment hub as part of this composable platform from Infosys Pinnacle, and then trying to back in with whatever CASA or PD systems that they have. Similarly, Emirates NBD in Dubai. Emirates NBD has been conventional bank, an Islamic bank, Emirates Islamic Bank, and a digital bank, .live. All three use different flavors of credit. There is conventional core banking system, then you say Islamic core banking system, with all the 9 variations of Islamic banking and digital bank. And they pick and choose the products that they want. So today they might have implemented CASA and PD in one country. They might go only in a buy now pay later solution from Pinnacle or second country, or for that matter, revenue management for the third country. So it is not necessary that you need to put all the blocks, building blocks first to go and buy or implement other products. It is all API driven. So even if you have to integrate with some other third-party component, these components are all standalone, working with processes and frameworks. Let me go to the next example, which is more to digital-only banks. So I take the example of Zang, which is one of the fastest growing digital-only banks. It's a corporate digital In fact, they run even cryptos on Finacle platform today. And their requirement is very simple. They want a CASA wallet and a framework that can hold on to the digital wallets, or in this case, cryptocurrency. And with these only 3 modules, they were able to go live on a Finacle platform within 1 month. This is the record go live that any banking platform provider had. And now they have implemented rest of the modules as well. This will give you a scale with which this can operate. We are no longer talking about 24 months, 48 months, CIO losing his job at the end of the entire implementation. That's long gone by. It depends, again, those modules, whether it's a digital wallet or a GL or a CASA that you want to do. Same with Marcus, which I will address it later, by Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs wanted to get into a digital banking portfolio. They started this company called Marcus, a digital-only bank. And Marcus implemented only the lending solution of Finacle to begin to capture the market. Once they became successful, they started getting into other parts of the corporate banking. This is, and some of the building blocks that I've taken it from the honeycomb gives you an idea of those modules that are only relevant for your banking need, not the end-to-end picture that has been shown. Third area is not the banks, but everything around. So today, banks are also looking at investing in a payment service bank. You might have a license or you might be collaborating with a telecom company. And there, you will try to penetrate the market to get into other countries through probably a payment service bank rather than you as a bank itself. The investment is too huge. So, Paytm in India, right? That's the biggest success story of a payment service bank. Uses Finacle end-to-end to service customers and also using their banking application. Similarly, I will talk about a case study, ZenPay, started by Zenith Bank in Nigeria. It's a payment service bank as originally started, now they've got a digital banking license. That's QB to offer wallets, CASA and loans, only 3 products. So you can pick and choose depending upon the industry that you want. Resimac in Australia uses only the wallet and connects to the front end through which they are able to offer mobile wallets. And the last but not the least is the banking as a service operation. And Apple is one such example that we work with. Wherein Apple wanted to get into the banking domain, but given the fact that they can't get into the banking domain, they approached Goldman Sachs saying, look, I have all the Apple subscribers whom I can offer a wallet, but through a banking service provider. So Goldman Sachs partnered with Infosys directly to offer wallets to Apple. So Apple, when you open an account through Apple subscription today, which happens inside Goldman Sachs, it is actually happening through Finacle wallet which is provided. And some of the SLAs that were given to us by Apple were very stringent. You were asked to open an account within 360 milliseconds. And we are very proud to say that today, when you open an Apple account, this happens within 300 milliseconds on Finacle free. It's one of the best case studies that we have today. And Apple was able to generate $10 billion worth of wallet accounts within a matter of 1 month. That's the scale that it provides for a growth in terms of this platform. The second one is also as YA in Dubai, which is offered by one of our customers, Bank. YA wanted to get into the banking domain. They could not get the license, so they approached Bank saying, can you do a banking as a service platform? And using Finacle to provide those services, YA is able to do everything that a bank does, but do a banking as a service platform on Bank as a platform through Finacle. So this will When I say technology, how technology has to be relevant, not just for the sake of PPT, but customers using it day to day and making it relevant in their operation. Not just us, this is what forester partners have been talking about. As you can see, we are in the leaders quadrant. We have been part of this leaders quadrant for more than 10 to 12 years. And the growth has been phenomenal for us. And these are the products, that we have highlighted here that talks about areas that we focus, the areas that we sell in the market, and we will be more than happy to share case studies, customers that you can speak to and get more and more information. In fact, someone spoke to me in the morning about our presence in Ghana itself. We in fact went live recently in Exim Bank in Ghana. Stanley Ghana uses our product, and GT, FD, and UBA, all of them use our products locally in Ghana. So you have your case studies there itself directly, but we will be more than happy to share more information. If you can drop into our booth, we can share with you this forester report as well as part of our other brochures, so that can give you a glimpse of transparently where we stand in our technology roadmap, in our investment, and compared to others in the market. Now comes the AI part. And most of my conversations today with the CEOs of various banks ends up with what is it that in AI that we do? So Infosys as a platform, Infosys as a company, we have invested in a platform called as Topaz. This is a generic AI platform that caters to various industries, and as part of that, Pinnacle is able to provide some of the use cases, and these are some of the Pinnacle data and AI suites that, as you see here, that as part of the AI platform that you can get. In fact, there are lots of use cases today that are getting built on our AI platform, some of our existing customers. More than happy to share with them. I have given a glimpse of various AI initiatives on the Pinnacle platform with our customers that are currently going on. And we would be happy to talk about it. Our technology specialist, Naresh, is here. We can share with you more insights as we move forward. With the paucity of time, I will move forward a bit faster. And I wanted to touch upon some of the case studies. While we implement products depending upon your need, and since it's a composable platform, it can be cloud agnostic or it can be on-premise. The Zand case study that I was talking about for corporate digital clients currently is hosted on Microsoft Azure. Similarly, Link is hosted on Oracle Oracle Cloud platform, and that will give you a flexibility of choosing your right cloud partner as and when your central bank gives approval. Or it can be a standalone cloud provider, a private cloud to begin with, and then you can move it onto a hyperscaler like Microsoft Azure, OCI, AWS, or GCP, depending upon your requirement. The second case study that I wanted to talk about was on ZenPay. I already touched upon it, on how we are able to provide a scalable payment service platform that can be enhanced tomorrow to a digital-only bank as a platform. I'm sure you can talk to ZenPay, Zenith Bank directly, get more details on it. But this is becoming a much bigger success story, not only for Zenith, also for us in Africa. Because as we see, more and more banks and customers are talking about it. In fact, we are being now invited by the Kenyan government in East Africa to do a POC on wallets similar to the wallet platform that we use today, and see how scalable it can be on an AWS platform as an alternative, similar to the lines that I was talking about. And this is the second case study on Apple, which I just now mentioned. Here, the best part about it is not only Apple as an account, customers are able to open through Goldman Sachs, but also you can get credit lines issued to Amazon. And this is the banking as a service provider that I was talking about. You can pick and choose whether you want to run it as a standalone system for this platform. You can run it as an AI-powered tool. In fact, Zand Bank that I was talking about has renamed their bank as an AI-powered bank. You should definitely, if you get time, you should definitely visit their site. The way they are trying to reconstruct their entire banking model around AI and blockchain is very impressive. And everything in the bank today is powered by Pinnacle platform, similar to the Apple case study that I just now mentioned. With that, I come to the conclusion of my slide. I will be more than happy to take any questions as part of, I'm just outside along with my team, and we'll be more than happy to answer your queries. But I would like to leave you with one final message, that banking no longer is done the way it was done 2 years back. It has changed. Composability is driving, new architectures are driving. As long as you are enabling your bank to adopt these composable platforms, you will be left behind. So it is time you relocate your priorities and implement those that are relevant for your business growth and stay ahead of the curve. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
So, Mohammed, are we on for the panel? Okay. We are going to have a panel discussion before the break. While they are setting up, I do have a quick giveaway from Infosys for the first person who can describe what a composable platform is based on their understanding of the presentation. So first hand up, who can give me a good definition? There's a bag for you. Nobody? Oh, okay, Dr. Solomon. Let's hear it.
So,
Well, you'll have to stand so I project. So that we can hear you.
what is said is basically the ability to choose bits and pieces of the
One moment,
platform.
the microphone is on. Everyone can hear.
So people offers so much, but here, with a composable platform, it allows you to choose your own bits and pieces as a bank or as an entity. Then that makes it have whatever you want to achieve. So there are 3 companies that are doing this data for you. So it depends on what they want. They just pick those ones, and they are able to give them. That's
Excellent.
composable.
Let's give him a round of applause. I have a gift for you. I'll bring it. So I would, before I bring up Mohammed, who will be the moderator for the platform, again, it's like you guys, you're leaning in the chairs, and I don't want anybody to fall off of their seats. So let's just do a couple more arm stretches while Mohammed comes up as the moderator for the panel. Yes, Solomon, you got the right idea. Just actually stood and stretched. Feel free to stand and stretch, or sit and stretch. Anyone is fine. So I am now inviting Mohammed, who will kick off the cyber resilience. And I love that we're using the word resilience because it's not just about being reactive. It's how do we be proactive, how do we withstand things, how do we prepare. So Mohammed, please come up and then we can introduce the rest of the panel members. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. All right, moving on. First, as Julian said, this is going to be the first panel discussion of the day. I will start inviting the panelists to join me on stage. But before that, the panel discussion is cyber resilience, protecting and recovering at the speed of attacks. It is interesting that we no longer talk about reacting after the attack, but protecting and recovering at the speed of attack. Now, may I please request the panelists to begin with Mr. Dami Adebari, Regional Sales Manager, Africa HIV Global, to join me on stage. Mr. Benjamin Okoli, Pre-Sales Manager, Africa Dispersity. Mr. Senano Datsa, Head Information Systems, Audit Risk and Assurance, First Atlantic Bank. Diana York, Business Development Manager, LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Mr. Tawheed Mohammed, AGM Sales and Pre-Sales, FPG Technologies and Solutions Limited. Let's not get too comfortable. May I please request for you to begin with a quick introduction and then we'll follow towards the right. If you could take this seat. Yeah. Just a quick round of introduction.
Oh, jeez. So don't worry, he'll do the
You are not focused, man of God.
Something about the panel
he'll
discussion.
get the two.
You're reading.
I'll get the rest of
Are you wide enough?
it. When I go wide, I'll get them. I won't get this two, so he will carry this two. So we should let him know, maybe in case he doesn't really know.
Go wide as he's talking while you won't get to open up and look at them.
Wonderful. Let's move on to Benjamin.
Good.
Yep. Good morning once again, everyone.
You can leave it.
My name is Benjamin Okoli, Pre-Sales Manager for Dispersity, supporting the African market. And yeah, we do have interesting conversations in the general idea of cyber resilience. So for me, there's a lot we have to do. First off, we need to understand some of these threats in the first place. When we understand these threats, we need to know why these threats have come about. The concept around general digital transformation, the adoption of containerization,
And maybe
how
you are
we
also
make
moving this move to
platform
the
security as we make these steps forward. Right? And this would be working towards cyber resilience.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Dina Amayo and I'm really excited and I'm part of this panel and we are looking at cyber
You need to be
resilience.
mindful of your movement.
So I feel
You need
this
to
is really
be
practical
it's going to
and we
cover
always
your
have
shakiness and your movement
cybersecurity
with the
talks,
full
but
back.
in
Yeah.
today's panel,
That's why I
I'm
don't want
looking
you to.
forward to us leaving here with the idea that when we go back, we have something that we are going to implement in our organization.
Thank you, Dana.
Everybody, my name is Damian Barry. I look after the HIV business here in Africa. Thank you for having us. It's great to be in Accra, very hospitable. For me, so looking forward to talking a little bit about AI, some of the trends that come with digital transformation, how that then often relates with cybersecurity, and then where security fits into that. Security is often an afterthought when we're talking about digital transformation. So looking forward to covering those points today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Okay, my name is Senan. I'm so grateful to be here. I know it's going to be an interactive session. When we talk about resilience simply do how you are going to withstand an attack. And when it happens, will you be ready? So we would like to discuss that and find ways and strategies on which we can protect ourselves in the first place so that it does not happen. So looking forward to an interactive session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sana. Okay, with that, I would not like to waste any time and straight dive into creme de la creme. Of course, the financial sector has seen an unprecedented transformation when it comes to cyber threats, cyber attacks, rapid digital adoption in terms of open banking, AI-driven services, seamless cross-border payments. Now, from some ransomware attacks to sophisticated phishing schemes to AI-powered fraud and regulatory pressures, the key question is how are banks, how can banks fortify their cyber resilience and respond at the speed of attacks, which clearly being topic. I would first start with you, Benjamin, because I was listening to the presentation rather than being quite interested. The numbers are pretty scary. I saw the percentages of the number of attacks that happened in East Africa and then Eurasia. So, Benjamin, how has the cyber threat landscape evolved with the expansion of digital banking services? I think in the morning at the beginning, the chairwoman asked how many of your banks or organizations are working towards digital per se. And I think we had a very small number of people put their hands up. So how do you think the cyber threat landscape has evolved with the expansion of digital banking services, and what are the biggest threats banks are facing today?
Yes, correct. Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think first we can understand that expansion of the couple of things we need to be focused on, right? General ideas around digital transformation. We look at, generally digital channel rise. We look at the adoption of containerization, for example, right? We see a lot of organizations moving towards the concept of containerization. We also have to look at the shift towards cloud infrastructures, stricter regulations. All of these guys play a key role in the increase in the attack surface. So this will then lead us to some threats related to these guys. One of them, for example, is threats faced by containers. One thing that we're seeing is a lot of organizations tend to assume that once they have done containerization, there is no need for dedicated security around these containers. And really, the scope is different. So, for example, they tend to use traditional endpoint protection solutions as protection for their containers. Technically, maybe some of that wrong, but it's also not all that right. The idea is when we're talking about containerization, there's a long way to factor in. And the EVP is only focused on one part, which would be like the whole source. Right? But that's definitely something some of the statistics earlier on. There's a lot of loss, financial loss, reputational damage. All of these guys associated with ransomware, data theft. I think one that's also really easily missed would be rubber ducky attacks. This is where unsuspecting users kind of bring in these USBs that pretty much emulate the behaviors of keyboards. So traditional endpoint, in fact, no endpoint protection solution is actually standing on the keyboard. So what happens is the attacker has pretty much access to your system. Could run Windows R, CMD, launch PowerShell, execute PowerShell scripts really rapidly just by the user using a bad USB. Yeah, those are definitely some.
Thank you, Benjamin. I think I'd like to ask the same question to him. So just to repeat the question for you. How do you think the cyber threat landscape has evolved or rather changed with the expansion of digital banking services? And what are the biggest threats banks are facing today?
So, as the digital banking services and emerging technologies are evolving, so are threats. And gone are those days of the solution like digital signature. Today, organizations are facing new threat landscape, like automated malware, where an attacker or an hacker is consistently targeting an organization with automated malware. We know with automated malware, you cannot use your manual strategy to stop automated malware. Aside that, advanced persistent threat, zero day is a very key issue facing organizations today, and organizations needs to be looking at how to manage zero day, how to do vulnerability management. Aside that, ransomware is critical issues facing financial services industry, all traditional bank and digital bank alike. Also, compromise assessment needs to be taken into consideration. Also, issues around DNS security is this critical area that there's a lot of organizations ignore. Because before any attack happens, it always starts with DNS. DNS security is also a very key area. And I'll also say user awareness. Organizations need to invest more on user awareness. Those are some of the checks.
Well, thank you, Tony. I think you've established that with the increase of digital banking, it is inevitable for the threats to increase as well. Now, let's hear from the banker on the panel, if he agrees with what Benjamin and Tony have to say.
In terms of threats, I think for the banks, inflation is all. But one thing I also want to look at is third-party risk. As most of our institutions are going online or are doing retail, there are APIs that we use for most of these integrations to their core banking. If these integrations are not properly done, and are not properly reviewed, and security is not built into it, what you are doing is that you are actually exposing yourself to these third-party risks. And as those risks crystallize, it can become a very big problem for most of these institutions. Awareness is very key, and awareness is very key when it comes to these digital platforms. Because if your staff are not properly trained on these threats, what you are actually doing is that it is the weakest thing in your chain. And once that weakest thing is compromised, it becomes a serious thing for your organization. So this is something to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. A little out of track, just out of curiosity. What do you think banks should do or are doing in order to create awareness within the system? What do you think banks should do or are doing collectively as an organization to create awareness in an organization?
Define rules and policies on your firewall to do certain activities. So those rules and firewalls, when you tell them no policy, is to always do what is expected. But for human beings, I can find a way to get something with a nice meal, and then find it very interesting so that you just click on a particular link. Once you click on that link, I have access to your entire organization. I have access to your mail. I can do anything I want to do with it, including the phishing attack and all those things. So it is very important that as organizations, we need to carry out awareness very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Interestingly enough, I must tell you, the attacks are so sophisticated, you know exactly where you are, at what time, what is happening. Nobody asks but personal experience. I got to fly from Accra to, from Addis Ababa to Accra, and at that point exactly, a colleague of mine got an email from me asking to transfer some funds to me. So, okay, moving on. Let me move on to Diana. Diana, what role do emerging technologies like artificial intelligence or blockchain play in both increasing and mitigating risks?
So I think artificial intelligence is actually one powerful tool. It's like a double sword and edged sword. So both sides is really sharp. So as you are using the other side, you should know that this side can also come back to really harm you really hard. So in as much as we are employing AI in our systems to make life easier for us, to make our processes very easy, what we should ask ourselves is the risk or the regulatory landscape ready to understand AI? AI should take a decision for you. You've set your, let's say, rule-based fraud approach system. If the AI should take a certain decision for you, that is going to lose millions of cents or dollars. Yeah, nobody is going to question the AI for man, as a matter of fact. You are the one going to be responsible. So in as much as we are trying to bring AI into the system, we should also look at the flip side, how it can harm us. Because now cyber attackers have really taken advantage of AI to now put crawlers on our systems to make sure that they are detecting certain things, or they are using botnet attacks and all that. Even some go to the extent that they actually use some facial recognition to take facial recognition of people and attack fake attacks. So for instance, I think recently in CNN there was this case with the bank that transferred about $25 million to a client, thinking that they were speaking to the executive manager of that institution. But it was actually a deep fake attack. And they had to transfer that money just to notice that it wasn't actually the director they were speaking to. So if they had multi-layered detection processes, they would have easily detected that.
Well, thank you, Diana. Dan, again, what role do you think emerging technologies like AI play in both increasing and mitigating cyber risks?
Thanks for that question. So maybe in terms of increasing attacks, I think as Diana said as well, the first thing an attacker wants to do in terms of AI is to create an identity that mimics your personality. So the first thing they're going to do is fish and fish and fish as much as they can for information. That's first thing. Now they're looking at images, now they're looking at videos, and then we're getting into the world of deepfakes, 3D masks, right? So that's the first part in increasing this. Now in mitigating, and what I think financial institutions can do, quite in line with EKYC requirements, is having a verification process when you're onboarding new customers, right? So you basically need to be able to say that this person is exactly who they say they are. And you can do that with a number of AI tools. First of all, you read a document, so AI can really go into fine detail in reading the accuracy of some of the documents out there, including the Ghana card itself. So AI is looking at really detailed things like the fonts, the text analysis, the watermarks, the pixelation, really down to granular detail. Something that's very, very difficult to fake. Then after that, once the individual for EKYC purposes takes a photo of themselves and submits it to you, many AI tools out there can really scrutinize that photo. Is it a passive likeness? Is it looking at things like facial match? Is this a 3D mask? Is it deepfake? And so on. And then once you onboarded that customer, there are also quite a number of AI tools that looks at behavioral analysis. Because again, an attacker will try and mimic the customer's behavior. So I think that's how you can use AI from a financial perspective to better your security strategy.
Thank you, Dami. Dami, I have a follow-up question for you. Now, I've understood. We're going to ask audience the questions from what Dami has just said. So I think, like Julian said, now you're sleeping, right? Okay, Dami, how can banks leverage advanced technologies like machine learning, right, to detect and prevent sophisticated cyber attacks? Like, just for example, the attack that Diana mentioned was something very sophisticated. Yes.
Sure. For attacks like this, really it's the end journey, the end goal, right? Which is to get money out of customers' hands. So with AI and machine learning, there's a number of tools out there that will speak to the biometric behavior of each individual. So each individual in this room has a very unique biometric behavior that they have when they engage with their financial institution, either through internet banking and mobile banking. The machine learning aspect comes in because some of the tools out there, you can track for every customer, looking at things like when they log in or when they tend to log in, what they tend to do when they log in, the transactions they tend to make. Because banking is quite repetitive, right? And a lot of the data is quite boring. So you can do the same thing, you log in, you make a transaction, you check the balance, you log out, right? So with the technologies out there, machine learning technologies, you can, for every single customer you have, you can build a biometric behavioral profile that is unique to that person. So that I know when Mohammed logs in, I know the transactions he makes, I know who he transacts to, I know how he navigates across our digital pages. So that if someone else was to come in and have quite a radically different strategy, because what I would do and what you would do is totally different, we can stop that attack right there in real time.
Oh wow. Now that you know so much about me, I want to go back to dealing with cash on later. Okay, Diana, I have a question for you. How can banks leverage advanced technologies like machine learning? The very same question, but what is different for you is you already mentioned a sophisticated attack like the way you did. What is your opinion of machine learning behavior analysis that Dami mentioned, and how do you think that can be advanced?
So I think that machine learning is really growing very fast and gaining a lot of attention because of some of the benefits that comes with it. So often you find institutions going a rule-based fraud detection strategy side, but it is really important for us to add the machine learning part of it. Because machine learning is now going into detail, adding some complex mathematical approach to create some prediction, to create some correlation and the relationship between how the clients are transacting or their pattern. So my colleague mentioned something like behavioral analysis. It is really important. So there are systems that will help you know that, okay, my client often communicates with our system at the right time. But today, for the past week, he's been using it left-handed. You are able to get all that with machine learning. So it's really important for us to add machine learning to the current systems that you are using. Imagine you have machine learning and you've actually built the digital identity of the clients that you are working with. When it happened, they could have actually leveraged on machine learning because during the KYC, you collected certain information like images. So these systems can now create the correlation between the individual that you are actually seeing on the screen plus the information that you collected. So this is not something that a staff or a human will sit down and create that correlation. You need machine learning as a strong engine behind the system that we are using to create this correlation and these relationships and patterns for you to help you determine some of these fraudulent activities.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Now, it's almost like shutdown. So, Sinano, one bank resource solution to my question to you. How can banks collaborate with critical infrastructure sectors such as communications, energy, to ensure seamless operations during cyber attacks with the help of solution providers, cybersecurity solution providers?
The banks are actually physical infrastructure they are part of the physical infrastructure they are part of the physical infrastructure. And because they are part of it, it's a sector on its own, and there are other sector players in that domain. So we have the telecoms, we have all the other institutions. When an incident happens, it cuts across, it's not only in the bank space. So we take, for example, internet banking, somebody is trying to do maybe a transaction, a mobile money transaction from his internet banking platform to the wallet. He's transferring funds from the mobile money to the wallet. And let's say it's a fraudulent transaction. When that happens, there are two different institutions that are involved. We need to get the telcos involved. We need to get the other banks also involved. If there is no correlation between this and there is no established guidelines within which these institutions will work, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to identify that attack or stop that attack immediately it is happening. So you will see that a fraud has happened here. You go to the telco is telling you, no, we need to get maybe a court order before we can release that information, or we need to, before we can disclose any information about this, we need to do that. It lays a process. But if there is a guideline that is acceptable, or there is a regulation that guides that, it makes it more easier if you are dealing with such an attack, and you can be able to address it within the shortest possible time. So for me, I think that the physical infrastructure of each sector needs to collaborate, because without that collaboration, it will be very difficult. The attackers will take advantage of us not being able to collaborate to be able to do a lot more things in the industry. So I think we should look at it from that perspective.
Well, thank you so much on that. In fact, for the last 3 years, I've been moderating a panel of this nature. The outcome, the final statement that we close the panel with by saying collaboration is key. So, thank you for that. Now, can you share an example? This is for all of you. Can you share an example of a successful cyber defense or a recovery strategy, and possibly a lesson that you've learned out of it? Yes, Diana.
So, organizations should have what I call cyber insurance, and we can look at it from the incident response and container. Okay? When an attack is happening, it's progressing, it is difficult to start again. So, I think organizations should subscribe to third-party service provider, some global power plant in that area, and subscribe to incident response container. So that when an attack happens, as the attack is progressing, they can come in to do compromise assessment, incident response, and support the organization in order to mitigate the attack. Thank you.
If I may add what you said, I think instead of having an incident response and testing is one of the key things for you to be able to deal with these attacks when they happen. Because if you are well prepared for the attack, when it happens, you know how to go about it. The attacks will not be in the same line as the normal attack. But once you are prepared, you have done your simulations, you have a plan, an incident response plan, as to how you address that particular incident when it happens. I think it gives you a better level. So for you to be resilient is one of the areas that you need to look at. Apart from that, I also think that when you are dealing with this kind of attacks, we should look at it from the perspective of maybe people, technology, and processes. Because this gives you a holistic view about your threat landscape, and it also gives you a holistic view about how you are able to react. So that the processes and the technology and the people that you are putting that are involved with the ecosystem, they are well trained, they understand, they have the systems that are able to capture what is supposed to be captured And when the attack happens, it's a way of being resilient in that particular state. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'll answer that from a solutions perspective. And I'll use a real life client that we have in South Africa. So, they were having some major issues, both internally with the staff and externally. And also from a regulations perspective. So, in terms of ISO, in terms of PCI DSS, some of the NIST cybersecurity frameworks. And basically, they weren't authenticated on their internal application. So basically, anyone could log into the core banking system with just a username and password, navigate around and see what's in people's accounts. And at this stage, you're really breaking a lot of compliances out there. So some employees were looking internally, they were collaborating with external attackers as well. And then on the customer side, people they basically run a loan business. So about 500,000 customers taking loans. So people are able to obviously forge IPs and things like that. So the solution we had was to have a solution that would integrate with the core banking system for employee authentication across all their core banking system and all the internal applications, put biometrics in place, because as we all know, OTPs, software these things are problematic. You can't forge my fingerprints unless you cut off my finger. And then for the external customers coming in and take the loans, exactly again, same fingerprint biometrics as a way to go. And then they were covered from a compliance perspective as well. So no one then was able to come in, look at information, break AML laws, be able to do all these kind of regulatory compliance.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, so what I want to add is actually an example. So this is a ransomware example, and this was how the institution was able to overcome it. So the process for attackers access their database, and this process, you know what they did? They rather encrypted my database or your database from you, came back saying that we'll encrypt it for you if you should pay us $20 million. I mean, it's crazy, So what happened is the company had already backed up their data really well. So when it happened, all they said was in your face. We don't need it. We already have the backup data, and they just let them and then install their own backup data. So this is just to say that as part of our resilience approach, it is really important to make sure that we back up all our systems and the data that we have so that we don't fall prey to such ransomware attacks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe to write on something that we mentioned. I guess it makes sense to consider security as maybe not just having a security team, but understanding that we need security teams. There is the red teams, and then there's going to be blue teams. So we have the guys that are working on our defenses, but we also need to have the guys that test our defenses as well. As a general rule, ultimately, no two organizations are the same. So every organization needs to understand where they are in terms of their maturity. Run proper cost-benefit analysis, really try to understand if it makes financial sense to maybe own something in-house, or in certain cases outsource. For example, incident response. You have an in-house incident response team. What do you outsource it to someone else or a retailer? Or maybe you don't want to move as your strategy. So you need a strong vision, really, from the organizational side, and a clear strategy towards your security. Maybe you even want to focus on things around like intelligence reporting. When we talk about threat intelligence, a lot of people maybe focus only on collecting your assets and monitoring and doing that way, right? Well, how about what is happening from a reporting perspective? What are researchers seeing? How can we leverage on machine learning content from what these reports are giving us? Things around indicator of compromise, YARA rules, how can we make sense of these things? So we need all of these guys to work together, leading towards the concept of teams, not just one team.
Thank you. I think to follow on what keep in the sustainable cybersecurity strategies, right? How can banks stay ahead of evolving threats?
So I think that we've all said a lot about cyber resilience. And whenever we are talking about cyber resilience, we are talking about the ability of your organization to withstand and then recover from such attacks. So it's always key for us to have these three key pillars when we are putting up our cyber resilience strategy. So you need to ensure you have your preventive plan. You also have your protective plan as well as your response plan. So if I'm speaking into preventive plans that you should put in place, when a client walks in and you are engaging the client, you collect certain data elements. You collect data elements like names, like the person's identity, and all that. And it's really important that at that stage, now that we say we are in the AI era, we should be able to collect and build a digital identity of that person. How is the person interacting on other platforms, on other social media platforms? So you need a system that can actually bring all of this together for you. When you're also putting your preventive strategies together, make sure that you have systems that can actually communicate to authenticate these data elements, and maybe more that we can talk about. But getting into the protective strategies that you can put in place, you can also put in place strategies that can also help you to determine the true geolocation of the individual that is to you when you are collecting those information. So this is where you now have systems that can study if the client is actually transacting from his true location or they are hiding behind a VPN. So you need systems that can pierce through a VPN for you to determine the true geolocation of the individual. And then comes to the last one, the response strategy. Every institution needs this actually. So you need a well-structured strategy that will help you to bounce back when these things happen. And this strategy shouldn't be something that we put together and then we put it in a page on our walls when your client comes in, they know, oh, you have a cyber resilience strategy, or we put in our strategy documentation. It should actually be a drill in the institution, not just for the risk department or the information security department, but to everyone. When there is a data breach, what's happened? Staff A knows that immediately I have to cut this network communication. Staff B also knows that immediately I have to do this straight to the client manager who is handling clients to know that when this happens, this is the kind of email or message I have to send to my customers immediately. Then it means that you know it's not just one man's job or not just sitting with the risk department, but everybody. And this is a drill that should be simulated, if not just once a month. I mean, even a quarter, if you can do it one across the whole institution, you do it so that when these things happen or when we are prone to such attacks, we know the immediate action that we should be taking.
Thank you, Leon. So what I understand is certain threats are definitely inevitable, but being unprepared is a choice. It's better to be prepared. Okay, with that, I think we come to a conclusion of the panel. Before I give closing remarks, I'd like panelists to give me their opinion on just 2 weeks about the panel as your closing remarks. Key takeaways, because I would like this discussion to continue off stage as well. You know, people walking up to you or you know, with different questions. What is your 2 weeks that you want to leave the audience with? Yes, sir.
It's time for organizations to be proactive and not just reactive. Because most of the time, it is when incident happens that things are prioritized. So we need to be proactive and not reactive. And as my colleagues have said, we need to simulate cyber attack in order to test our cyber resiliences. It's not just okay to spend a lot of money on cyber security tools. Okay. How are cyber security tools going to react when an attack happens? Okay. So that's very important. And it's also very important for the IT team and cyber security team to know their weaknesses in order to fix it. Finally, organization needs to draw a baseline to say, in terms of cyber security, this is where we are today. This is where we are going in the next 3 years. We should have cyber security baseline and roadmap.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, sir.
For cyber resilience, innovation starts with governance. You need to define a governance framework within which you want your cyber security to operate. So that governance framework will talk about your policies, your procedures, and your policies and procedures. And it also speaks to your infrastructure. You should also look at your infrastructure. What you are going to put in place to be able to respond when an attack or an issue is supposed to happen. In case it happens and you are to maybe incur a loss, is there a fallback plan that you also have to be able to recover part of what has been lost? I think we need to look, the organizations need to look at it from this perspective. Governance, you look at your technology implementations, you also need to look at your people. I think people is very key. And is key in the sense that the easiest way any attacker can actually come to your organization is through your people. Because you can do everything you do, it's just a matter of being manipulated to maybe a phishing email or anything that you just click on and you give the whole organization to an attacker. And he can do anything to you. That is why it's important that your governance framework is key, your technologies that you have implemented is key, and then you also look at your people as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so just to add to that, I think earlier I said, security is often an afterthought when it comes to digital transformation, especially in many of the projects that we see. So, I think security needs to be at the forefront or side by side to that digital transformation. Again, I think just an answer people. With people, you need training. Adequate and ongoing training, is very, very important. And lastly, I think engaging the right vendor to help you on these digital transformation security journeys. A vendor that understands the regulatory compliance landscape, or a vendor that has an international standing, right? So is able to tell you what's going on out there, and that can help you shape the policy. And then lastly, a vendor that really puts professional into professional service, professional support. And a vendor that knows how to balance security, reusability, and flexibility. Because there's no point in having solutions that you can't use and aren't secure.
Thank you, Ron.
So I would just like to say that for me, I would like to continue this conversation. It's actually not an idea for me. So I'm looking at having a lot of conversations with a lot of you to see how we can put some of the preventive, detective measures and then some of the response strategies in place in your organization. I don't mind, please pull me, use me as much as you can today. Even if I have to come to your office, I'm really available to come to your office. Let's look at strategies, let's see how we can build on it, how we can make it more sophisticated and more prone to a very stringent process.
Thank you, Leonard.
So first of all, I'd like to say it's been an absolute honor sharing this evening with all the brilliant minds and also with everyone from the audience. I mean, we want to leave everyone with the idea of understanding the trends. When we want to focus on security within our organization, it's not really achieved by spending the most money. It's about understanding the threats facing your vertical, understanding the threats facing your region, probably prioritizing your spend. We kind of want to bridge that gap that exists between management and operations teams, where management doesn't want to release a budget and the operations teams want to expend the budget. So we kind of need to understand and properly prioritize. And we generally don't want to underestimate the concept of people, processes, and technologies. When we start to focus on APTs, for example, no one technology is just going to be able to on its own catch every single thing. You need to have humans, you need to have the guys on ground. There's a lot of malicious processes using legitimate tools. So we need to have our guys understand the norms and technique. And these guys should then be able to find the needle in the haystack around that. lastly, let's never underestimate the value of intelligence. So as much as possible, we should have threat intelligence at the back of our minds. The way I choose to see intelligence is like our homes. In our houses, we're pretty much comfortable with everything that's happening inside of the house. There's a crack, we're quick to spot it. But then what happens when we're looking from outside of the house? Unfortunately, we're able to walk around our house every single day. And so the idea behind intelligence is to give you that additional vision, having someone walking around the house, when we find cracks, we are lurching. So yeah, that's never underestimated by the intelligence. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Benjamin. I think with Julian having those certificates is a way of telling that time is up. Before we leave the stage, I would like to open the room for any questions you have from the audience. Anyway. Okay, now the question, do we have a mic? The question is coming from Mr. Aaron Omo, Chief Information Security Officer at the bank.
Don't forget to bend down.
He's here.
Thanks so much. I want to start this way. Initially, we were reacting regarding this end. Things happen with our incidents and we react late. For example, ransomware. And one of the primary way of handling ransomware incident is probably to restore the backup. And I have this concern from years back. What if the ransomware has been back? But definitely you restore the ransomware and the whole cycle starts over again. But thank you for AI. For definitely aside the activity we have a responsibility coming in. But one of the negativity that I really can also concern about is data quality. In the sense that, of course, yeah, it's going to help us a great deal process background of data, give us some pattern, behavioral analytics and all this stuff. What if it is compromised and data quality becomes what the malicious actor is using to actually get to the AI assistant regarding what should be seen and what should not be seen. So it's like I'm not asking you to respond because I may not it will not be possible to answer, but I'm asking what is the tech industry doing in this regard? How are we going to kind of combat data quality? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Maybe on that question, we want to start off again with something that I always want to focus on. The human machine concept. From the detection side, you don't really want to have that complete reliance on technologies or AI. You need to have reliance on self as well. Again, you need the concept of people, processes, and technology. So we need to have, guys constantly learning, understanding that the learning journey never ends in our field of security. AI and machine learning wouldn't be the first development that can potentially go to the So what's that same as always been, everyone keeps learning from the defensive side, we keep learning. And we have again our red teams, our guys that keep trying new ways to break our system. So we want to be active as well, trying new ways to defend our system. So again, just full focus on people, processes, and technologies, and maybe some work that we're doing from the aspect side as well. As mentioned maybe in the previous conversation, we've been using machine learning as a subset of AI in our offerings for over 20 years now. And we still keep learning, we're still researching, we're still finding new ways. So there is a lot that the industry can do to put the halt to the what we can adapt. We can keep learning, we can keep understanding and finding new ways to protect us. So that's it for me.
with that, the panel discussion definitely comes to an end. I think before I leave the stage, I've just jotted down the key takeaways that I personally got from the panel discussion. One being, of course, cyber resilience is more than just defense. It's about strategy and recovery. But I think just as what Diana was talking about, the human factor remains the vulnerability, I think, that Jimmy mentioned as well. So, like Sinana said, cybersecurity awareness and training, with that collaboration, of course, is key. Now, the real test is, I think, cyber resilience is not if an attack happens, but how quickly and effectively, if you're able to stop it, you stop it, or respond to it when it does. So, I think with that, I'd like to thank each and every panelist that brought the knowledge that they did to stage, and I think I'd like all of you to continue the conversations right after this, because we're going to be breaking for lunch. Thank you so much. We will be on a coffee break for 15 minutes, and please return within 15 minutes. So if there's some time, we will